Bookstackers. Today we're doing an in-depth discussion of Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. Levenseller.
Levenseller.
So I got this book on the Kindle because we went to Dimmicks and they didn't have it, and we were like, hey, can you search if any of the other Dimmicks have it? And they were like, no. And we couldn't be bothered searching it any further.
To be fair, we did go to like another bookstore that was like having a closing down sale.
Yes. And we looked there, but there was nothing
We
either.
didn't look very hard because all the books were like $7 and we were like, we can't stay here.
It was too tempting.
Yeah. I have
So-
a bookcase now though, so it's fine.
We ended up buying it on the Kindle. So I read it and then Elise read it and she just finished it today.
Yeah,
I
maybe,
finished
like,
it yesterday.
half an hour ago.
So we've got some fresh feelings for this book. What was your first impression at the beginning of the book and then at the end of the book?
I feel like my impression stayed the same. Just like vague general confusion.
Yeah.
And sort of like, you know?
Yeah, I like started reading it with so much hope because the idea sounded so cool. I was like, oh yeah.
I want to read like about a cool lady pirate.
Yeah, I was like, female lead on it. She sounds strong, she sounds capable. Great. Oh, you think. And then like the ending, like when it just suddenly cut off, like I actually stopped reading it and was like,
Yeah, she was here to watch me finish the thing because I
Yeah.
was like, I was reading the end of the page and she was like, keep going, and I tapped and it was the end of the book.
and she was like, what the hell? Feels like there should be more, and it's like, I know that there's a sequel, but I hate books that kind of do that thing where you have to go read the sequel.
It kind of led into like yeah, this is being all wrapped up, but it didn't really feel like that.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was the correct point to cut it off. Like, it was just sudden.
Because like her dad had shown up,
Yeah.
and like I was already like not sure how to feel about him. Like he popped in for like 2 seconds and he left again.
Yeah.
And then she was like back on her ship and she spoke to the love interest for about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, it does a thing.
Okay, yeah.
And she spoke to her love interest for about 2 seconds, and then she spoke to the others, and then she was still speaking to him. And then
Yeah, she was like, there's more time to learn more about him in the book. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember like my boyfriend looked over at me and he was like, bad book, huh? Because I was just like making this face and I was like, what? I was just so unsatisfied with how they left it. I was like, oh, annoying.
I hate when that happens. I read a book once and it ended, and the kid, he was supposed to like go help save the world. Like the world was gonna like fall into ruin if people didn't do anything. He was the only person who could help. And then there was a shipwreck. He was like, oh, I'm on the island in which like my adopted family or something lives. So he went home. And it makes
Emotional.
me it makes me really sad to think about it because I really loved the book.
Now, do you think it was plot driven or character driven? Which one?
No. There wasn't much of
Neither. The plot was very, like, the idea for the plot sounded great, but the execution was just like...
Because there was this one thing that she had to do, and it just dragged out.
It dragged, yeah. Like, nothing happened, and because it's like, it's presented as like Daughter of the Pirate King, you're like, oh, swashbuckling, there'll be action, there'll be fighting. There was like barely anything.
No, you know what? It was romance driven. She was on the boat.
Yeah.
To like... go along with the romance with the dude, and that was like it.
Yeah, but also like I didn't
development.
buy that romance. I like the guy. I was like, the guy's alright. Like he seemed to have the most personality, but I also didn't like that they were doing the whole mysterious thing and I've got a dark past. I just didn't care for it. And whenever stuff happened and they were like, oh, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad, and all the betrayals were like really weird. It sort of felt like she was like, oh, I need a plot twist. All along he was faking, but wait, he wasn't. And like the plot twist that happened with the pirate Theris, I think it was.
I guessed that as soon as the dude like said Theris, I was like, oh, he's the captain.
Yeah, he's the captain. But like with Theris, like I guessed it, but the whole like him betraying the whole time and just suddenly like knowing all this detail, like it was almost like they had too much information about her to be realistic, because she was like, only my dad knows. And even if he'd been watching, like, it was like, how is it possible that he was there for every single moment?
Yeah,
which he seemed to have been.
Yeah, I know, that was weird. Plus like she made him really suspicious the whole time. Like when he was like, yeah, I'm here to like, your father sent me, I was like, I don't really believe you.
Although I did laugh when you find out that she'd killed the man that was her father. I was like,
lol! When I found out he was like the bad guy, I was like, oh, so was it like Enwin that is like supposed to be helping her? Because I was like, he seems like a fun dude. I liked him.
Yeah.
And she just murdered the guy who was supposed to be helping her. And it's like, that's what you get for getting mad and just having a pissing contest with seeing how many people you can kill.
That was probably my favourite, like, reveal in the book. That was the only thing that I was like, props.
She was like, oh, I feel bad about it, but I don't because I'm too tough to feel bad.
But, like, that was the only thing that kind of made sense. The rest of it sort of felt like it was thrown in just so it had that factor, but it didn't quite work because it was just not believable.
The writing there was like a lot of detail put into her clothes.
There
was.
Yeah.
Like when she got dressed in her outfit, she was like, boots that go above the knee. I was wearing black leggings and also breeches on top of those.
Yeah, and then
it was
just
this
so
blouse
much.
and a corset.
And like when she was talking about Raiden the first time, he's about a head taller than me. Like it was sort of all about her. Like she would talk a big game and she was very arrogant and it was sort of like, I'm this and I have this skill
and she was like,
I have this.
I'm so smart, but she made so many stupid mistakes.
Made so many stupid mistakes and I was like, you haven't shown us any of this and it just sounds like all talk and it was just kind of like annoying. Like it sort of felt like someone's fan fiction of their ultimate like ideal like situation that they get to put themselves in and being like, I got to do this and I got to do that and I'm amazing and I'm this. And I was like, there were no flaws really that she kind of
not that she owned up to. I mean obviously she had tons of flaws.
Yeah, she had tons of flaws, but like none that she was sort of like working on and none of them got fixed. That's the thing.
Yeah, there was no development of her character.
Like the character that she's at the end when she's on her ship and the character at the beginning, there's no change at all. Like it's almost like she's meeting him for the first time.
Her relationship with Raiden that changed, but that was it. And you saw that coming the entire time. I want to complain about all their names. Why do they all end in N?
Yeah.
Raiden, Draxen, Kieran, Enwin. I hate it.
It just felt unnecessarily long. Like some of the scenes, I was like, this does not need to be a chapter long. Every time she escaped, like, she didn't make any progress. And what she was set out to do, like, go searching, it's like, it sort of didn't feel like she was doing that at all.
I would have liked a bit more, like, of her sneaking around and showing how she was smart and everything. But even when she was, like, hiding and stuff, it was also like, oh, I hid behind this and they didn't see me because they were so stupid. And it's like, but, well, like...
The descriptions as well, like, were often like, I did this and I did this rather than being like... as I said that this happened and this fell down and like talking about something other than her, it was very much just like centered on what was happening to her at the time. And so it felt very one-dimensional in that way. And it's like, sorry if you love this book, but I couldn't stand it.
I was really excited because like, I like pirates. Pirates are
good, right?
I
love pirates. And I was like ready. It's just like the things that I could pick out that were good happened like, could maybe fill one chapter of what was in the book.
I don't like how... I mean, obviously her dad abused her. I don't like how she was just like, oh, but he made me strong, and it's like,
I get that sirens are supposed to be like a creature that men are attracted to seduce men. So, you know, when she was doing the seducing, I was like, sure. But just like, it just felt like it was being like, this character is super sexy, and like, all the men love her. But Raiden knows that she's different.
Like, it's not the
he
real
understands.
her.
It just felt really fanficky. Another thing as well that kind of grinded on me was like that sometimes she would go to pirate speak and other people would go to pirate speak and then they wouldn't. Like, they would use lass and like everyone would be like whelp or whatever. And stuff like that.
And she was like, she was talking about the men and how they were like terrible, and she was like, oh, they're just bilge rats, and I'm like, that's just really weird.
And it was just
in the context of the language you're
using. Because she was using very modern language otherwise, and her remarks were very sassy. That's the thing I will give it. There were some sassy remarks that made me go, haha, good one. I wanted more dialogue like that, because that was when I was enjoying it. But it would happen just randomly, and then there would be random like wee lass and stuff like that, and it was like, pick a tone and stick to it. There was all these deep dark secrets and there was this tragedy that she'd grown up like this, but it came off weird because all they wanted to focus on was the romance. The romance was it. The whole like story and stuff was built around them happening, and you could feel that.
The worst part is they don't even happen.
Yeah.
And it's like,
they kiss a couple times out of like anger, and that's like not a good way to have a relationship. They were like...
The manipulation involved.
Yeah. And she was always... when she could, like, see his emotions, she was like, oh, it's interesting how he's
There's this one colour, and I'm not sure exactly what it means. And it's like...
and how she was like, oh, his lust mixes with his, like, aggravation. And I'm like,
she's
that's
like, it's
not healthy.
And she was like, oh, it's probably frustration. Like, I mean, it's probably love. Obviously, that's what she's, like, aiming at. Like, this is what the author's like, he's in love with her. That's, like, the thing. But she's talking about how she's so logical and stuff. And, like, to be fair, she is decently, like, she thinks things out, I guess, in other situations.
Yeah.
But she's not even, like, you gotta be logical.
Also, it felt like she knew too much. She was like, yeah, like, obviously I can get out of this and da-da-da. And it's like, okay, be confident in your skill, but I wanted to see her have to struggle more. And then it was sort of like the whole time she wasn't really struggling while she was on the boat, except with her conflicting emotions. But then when she got captured by this other pirate king, it was like suddenly it was overkill and there was like no way she could get out and everything was just desolate. And it was like, somewhere in the middle would have been great.
Plus, like, we don't even super see her skills. The dude still had to save her.
Yeah.
Which was annoying.
And then she ran after this dude and kept stripping people. And I was like, can you stop stripping people?
There was a lot of stripping people.
Or like her stripping in front of people and being like... It's like, stop.
What was that noise?
Look, that's what I imagined. The way they explained it, they were like, I weaved into my song, like, to make them do these things. I'm like, you two over there, go and get the captain. You over there, kill yourself. I was like,
that's all I can imagine.
Right?
I was just being
like dumb.
Like just the instructions she gave.
Yeah, I was like, it would have been cooler if you like put in like a verse that's like whole.
Yeah, like just like a verse, and some books do that. They
and
have
then
like
you
a verse
could have
and they continue like, oh, this is this,
and you could have incorporated like pirate language into that more as well. Like I feel like there were opportunities
like look up
for her
some
to do
traditional sea shanties or something. The bit where she kept talking about how like, oh, pirates have no morals and stuff because we're pirates, and I'm like, pirates had like a very strict code of honor. I know stuff about pirates because I loved them when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I had to do a project on them once, and I read up so much. I read about like Blackbeard and stuff, and I was like, weird. And then I read about like a few female pirates. I can't remember their name. Probably like Anne Bonny or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's like my boyfriend likes pirates, and he was playing Uncharted, and he went and researched all like the mythology and was like telling me where the islands were that lots of pirates were and all that sort of stuff. But like this just didn't have that same feel of kind of like adventure and danger and
even pirates,
gritty.
Even Pirates of the Caribbean movies were like better set out.
And they were all like 17, 18. I was like, you can have 17-year-olds in a crew, but I feel like there should definitely be some that are older.
It wasn't like believable and it was frustrating.
And it was sort of like there were a lot of plot holes that they just skipped over. They're like, nah, it's fine. How at the end she got captured again by Draxon's crew when she was like saving Raiden from drowning. And then she sung to her crewmates and they all came to her rescue. And so did this other pirate who had apparently wanted her affections, and also the pirate king. And it was just like
it felt like she threw in the other captain, like Tylan or something, I think his name was. Just to be like, oh, she's like super desirable. Like this dude, like...
It just felt like a lot of ex machinas. Like she never got herself just by herself out of a situation, really. From my perspective, she just sounded like a 17-year-old who'd been told she was super great and like had skills and was great, but didn't practically use them.
I didn't like that she put in the like sexual assault with the Shelk. God, I can't think of his fucking name. It was stupid. But
outside
like that
the bar.
guy, outside the bar. And I was like, this is unnecessary. You can show how she fights really well at other points. You've already like done the same moves like however many times.
And
on
also
other
it's
people.
like we know that he's a sleazebag because of the way he was looking at her earlier. Like, that's fine.
It was just really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
it made me unhappy.
I didn't like. I feel like that was unnecessary.
She was like, pirates are bad, but
and she was like, oh, I'm so ruthless, and it's like, yeah, she's already like. Yeah, she's proven that. She's killed a bunch of people, whatever. I thought her killing a bunch of people was fucking ridiculous anyway. And then later on, she was always like, oh, I feel like pity or something for like the lives that are being lost. Yeah. And I'm like, but every time you have to kill someone, you're like, I'm gonna kill them and it's gonna be great.
Like, even though you knew she had the skills, it was just because she was bragging so much that you were like, all right, then like, if you're so good, show us. Like, so did you like Alosa as the narrator? No. I think we've made it pretty clear that we didn't. Why couldn't she be like Raiden? She totally could have been like Raiden if it was from Raiden's perspective and Raiden was a girl. Like,
you're right, because he was like he killed people.
He was a lot more serious and a lot more grounded.
And he did have like actual conflict. I feel like him as a narrator, like if his personality was like
turn Raiden into a girl, switch the personality, switch the thing, and then it's like he can have she can have this conflict over there being a prisoner.
Like there's like. It would have been
so
more.
easy.
It would have been more interesting.
It was so close to getting good, but because it didn't, it was just so unsatisfying because you wanted it to so bad. But who was your favorite character?
That N1 guy, the thief dude.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I was gonna say him too.
I was like, he's pretty funny and he's smarter than he seems, and I was like, yeah, alright.
But it was great that he was superstitious as well because like, you know, pirates are known for being superstitious, and so it was very funny when like...
I mean, technically they were superstitious about having women on board.
Yeah, but I liked the conversations with him because he was like, nah, man, just steal people's money back.
Yeah.
And then like at the end when he was like, you survived because you have the lace that I gave you, and she's like, and he's like, yes. I enjoyed that. Like he was just a chill dude, and he was fun to read.
Yeah, I liked. Yeah,
he wasn't in it a lot, so that says something that he was happy. Who would you recommend this book to?
People who like young adult trashy romances, I think.
But like you won't get a lot of kisses or romance. I think if you like still used to like that Wattpad writing and you read a lot of those sort of trashy novels, I guess. I say like trashy, but I read those as well if I'm in a mood. But I think then you might like this because you may not notice as much the writing.
I think if I was like 13 or something, I would have
maybe like
this more.
Really
like before I'd gotten older and been sort of like, I don't really want women to be like looked at like this. I mean, obviously when I was younger I read a lot of books like this.
Yeah, exactly. When I was younger I'm sure I read worse, but like now that I'm older it's sort of like I expect more, and also we've been reading a lot of really great books lately. Like we've read Leigh Bardugo, we've read Maggie Stiefvater, like, and they're really good writers and their female characters are very like fully fledged. And there's like barely any sexism in there, and if it is, it's shut down.
And it's like it's addressed properly.
Yeah, it's addressed. So yeah, this just kind of, it felt like a step back in time, I guess. It felt like something written in the 2000s. And what would you rate this book?
I don't think I enjoyed it at all. So I'm going to say like 0, because I wouldn't read this again.
0?
I'm not interested in reading the sequel. I don't care enough. The plot wasn't interesting enough for me. Usually when I read something and the plot like drops off, even if it's like a kind of bad book, I still want to find out what happens.
Yeah.
But I have no desire.
I read this first as well, so I had no views already being like, oh, it's going to be good, it's going to be bad. I just went into it knowing nothing. I gave it 2 stars, and only because like the conversations were really witty and I enjoyed the conversations. Like between her and Ryden when they were like having witty conversations
and stuff.
I enjoyed the banter, but it was like all the actions that happened before and after, didn't care. And when the action did happen, great. It was really cool. I was like, awesome, action's happening. I just wanted so much more of that.
Because you can find books that are similar, written well. And like, I could look up like a pirate book and find a better one, I'm sure.
Actually, I think I give it 1 star. I was just thinking, I was like, the potential
having
witty
enough.
dialogue isn't enough to get a 2nd star. That can be 1 star. Anyway, sorry this book wasn't the most enjoyable one for us to review, but you know, that's just gonna happen. We've had a good run up until now.
That's true.
Hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Bye! I can't.
Tricia Levenseller. Levenseller? Levenseller. Don't know.